On page 16 and 17 notes, we're going to look at comparing numbers. And these are all different numbers that we've looked at. Integers, fractions, decimals, percents, exponents, square roots, cube roots, and scientific notation, all of it together. So what you want to do is you want to change everything to decimals. That way you can compare where they would be at on a number line. So when you do 2/5, you're going to want to do it as division, not as a fraction. And we get 0.4. So I'm going to write our numbers over here in the same order. 5.8 times 10 to the negative 2. Remember, that means we move it left 2, so 0.058. So we moved it once, and then we need to move it one more, so we need another 0 there. Again, that 0 doesn't count. Square root of 3, square root button, again, you do second, and then the squared button, so square root of 3 is 1.73. 6%, you can either do 6 over 100 to get that decimal, or remember with percents, you put the decimal and move it left 2 times, so 0.06. 4 over 9, 4 divided by 9 is going to give us 0.4 repeating. You might want to put some 4s in there to remind yourself that that means it keeps going, or you can just write the line. 2 to the negative 1, what you need to remember is that means 1 over 2 to the 1, or 1 over 2, which is just 1/2, so 0.5. You also could do 2 and then your exponent key, negative 1, and it will give you 0.5. So we need to look for the smallest number first. That's going to be the one with the most zeros after the decimal point. So if you look at our second one and our fourth one, those are the only two that have a 0 right after the decimal. So those two are going to be our smallest ones. So the 0 matches, so then we look at the 5 and the 6. The 5 is smaller, so this is our smallest number. You have to write your answer in the form that was given to you. So we need to write our first number is 5.8 times 10 to the negative 2. That takes care of that one, and it might be helpful to even cross those out. 0.06 is our next one, and we look over here, that was 6%. So you need to write it as 6%. All right, then we have this one, and this one, where there's one number after the decimal. So we need to look, 5 is bigger than 4. This would be 4-0, this is 4-4, so this one is smaller. So 0.4 was our first number, which is 2/5. Then 0.4 repeating, which was our 4/9. And then our 1/2, which was 2 to the negative 1. And finally, the only number that was bigger than 1 is the square root of 3. So again, change them all to decimals and then find your smallest one and work your way up. Make sure your answers are written with the way they were given to you though. All right, let's look at number 2. 125%. Again, percent means out of 100. So if you want to do 125 divided by 100, you can do that. Or you can take the decimal at the end and move it left twice. 1.25. 15 over 8. So 15 divided by 8, 1.875. The cubed root of 8, maybe that's one you know. If not, 3 second exponent key. That's your cubed root of 8 gives us 2. 1.3 times 10 to the first means we need to take this and move it over 1, so we get 13. Square root of 19, so again, second squared button to get your square root. 19, 4.36, we'll round it to. And 1 and 1/9, when you do your mixed numbers, remember just leave the 1 and then put your decimal. And then 1/9 is 0.1 repeating. So 1, 1, 1, 1. So all of these are above 1. So now we're looking at the ones that are just ones in front of the decimal. That would be this one, and this one. This is a 0.2, 0.8, and 0.1. So the 0.1 is the smallest. So 1 and 1/9 is our smallest number. Then the 1.25, which is 125%. Then our 1.875, which was 15/8. Then our next one would be 2, which is the cubed root of 8. And then 4.36, which was the square root of 19. And then finally 1.3 times 10 to the first. Go ahead and pause and see if you can do the last ones on your own, and then come back and check. So for number 3, 4 to the negative 2, you can do 1/16, 1/4 squared, or again, you can just plug it in. 7%, again, you can move the decimal or do 7 out of 100, 0.07. These next two are a little bit tricky. 1 out of 15 is 0.06 repeating, where our next one is just 0.6 repeating. So those look the same, but there's a big difference because there's a 0 in front of this one. 2 out of 29 would round to 0.069, where 6.8 times 10 to the negative 2, move it left twice, 0.068. So first things first, all but this one only have 1 0, or have a 0 after the decimal. So then we got to look really closely. We know this one is going to be our biggest one of those because it's a 7 and all the rest of them are a 6. So since the 6's match on all these, we need to go to the next number. 2, 6, 9, and 8. So obviously the 2 is the smallest. So 4 to the negative 2 is our first one. Then our 6, 6, so that's 1 out of 15. And then the 6, 8, so 6.8 times 10 to the negative 2. And then the 6, 9, so 2 out of 29. So it takes care of all of those that were really close together. Then 0, 7 will be the next one. That's 7%. And then finally the 0.6 repeating. Number 4, the cubed root of 27 is 3. Again, if you don't remember, 3, second exponent key, and then 27. That'll give you 3. 3.5 times 10 squared means we move it right twice, so 350. 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. Square root of 15 rounds to 3.87. 35%, you can do 35 out of 100 or move that left twice, get 0.35. 24/7 rounds to 3.43. So we have 2 that are less than 1. So this one and this one we have to compare. So the 3's are the same. This 3 is smaller than that 5. So 1/3 is our first number. And then 35% is our second one. Then we have the 3, 3.87, and 3.43. 3 is the smallest of those, so cubed root of 27. Then the 3.43, so 24/7. And then the 3.87, which is the square root of 15. And finally, the one that's not even close is 3.5 times 10 squared. For number 5, 6 to the 4th is 1,296. I used colons for these because I put some commas in our big numbers. 1.296 times 10 to the 4th, so move it 4 times. You need that extra 0 on there. 130%, again, you can do 130 divided by 100, or you can put the decimal in the back and move it left twice to get 1.3. Our next one is 1.3 repeating, so I just put some 3's there so we can compare easily. 5 to the 6th power is 15,625. and 5 over 4 is 1.25. So that is actually our smallest one because it's the only one with a 1.2. Next we have 1.3 and 1.3 repeating. So again, the 3's match, so then you need to look. 0 is smaller than 3. So the 130% would be our next smallest, and then the 1.3 repeating. After that, we have this one is in the thousands, so 6 to the 4th. And then here we have 12,000 compared to 15,000. So the 12,000 is smaller, 1.296 times 10 to the 4th. And our last one is 5 to the 6th.